Big move higher in the market today. The S&P 500 gapped up above the 6,700 level. We've been highlighting the gamma exposure at the 6,700 strike for the better part of a couple of months now. It's been a major focus for the market. We gapped back above that level this morning and drifted higher through the rest of the trading session, getting close to the 6,750 level, which is our next immediate target. That's a really important level as well, obviously, as we've been noting, as it is near the all-time highs that we saw earlier in October. So given the move higher today and the close above the 6,700 level, it does appear that bullish momentum is starting to come back into the market. Our next immediate target is to break this resistance level around 67.63, and then we'll be looking at the 6,800 strike above that. We've seen quite a bit of positive gamma exposure growing over the last couple of weeks at that 6,800 strike, and we think there's actually a really good shot of hitting 6,800 at some point at the end of October, maybe early November. And bigger picture, just switching here to our daily candlestick chart, bigger picture, if we can continue this move up towards the big 7,000 strike, which has been building over the course of the last several months, this looks to be a potential year-end target for the S&P 500. By the way, you can get a sneak peek of what we're trading right now, and you can also check out our daily live stream, which is archived as well. I'll put a link in the description below for you guys to check all that out.
Anthony, I wanted to take a look at the VIX, given all of the volatility we've seen lately, and I wanted to start with VVIX actually. So for our audience out there that might be new, VVIX is the index measuring the future expected volatility of the VIX itself. And we've been mentioning both in Discord and our newsletter and YouTube that really what bulls would want to see is a big reversal in VVIX that might signal that at least the short-term trip in volatility higher was reversing and potentially giving the market a runway to head higher. So we saw that Friday, a huge over 20-point drop in VVIX from a high of 137 down to roughly 115. So that was a good preview of what we saw today with continued downside in the VIX and VVIX and markets pushing higher. Now, I did want to point out that VVIX is almost to the bottom of this 2-hour Keltner channel, and this has been a fairly good guide in the past for volatility reversals. So what we'll want to see if we do see VVIX reverse here, and in turn the VIX, is to see what happens in this 110 to 115 area for VVIX, and that would mark basically retesting that middle Keltner channel, also the whole moving average. One more quick thing on the VIX itself. We have VIX monthly options expiring Wednesday pre-market. We saw GEX actually flip negative today. The VIX had seen positive GEX for quite some time, and we have our largest GEX clusters right now at 18, 19, and 20, with 20 actually marking the zero gamma level. And actually, if you look at prior VIX expirations this year, there are at least a number of those that I can point to where the zero gamma level ended up being a magnet for the VIX going into expiration.
Thanks, Sean. Next, let's take a look at GLD, the gold ETF, up 3.64% today. This parabolic move continues in gold, closing at 403.15. We're entering our upper dealer cluster zone as we've been approaching this area for the past several trading sessions now. You can see gamma exposure concentrated right around this 400 strike. This does appear to be an area of potential consolidation or resistance. One of our sub-strategies in our portfolio is a weekly income strategy on GLD. You can actually follow this in our community Discord. We have a sub-thread dedicated to this strategy. If you guys haven't been in our community Discord yet, definitely check that out. Just on this past Thursday, we locked in $4,000 in profit on our short October 17th GLD 380 puts. We actually rolled those out to this Friday's expiration at the 390 strike. We also rolled our long puts out as well because GLD had just moved up so fast, but that's one of the beautiful things about this strategy. We lost on the long puts, but it was much less than what we had gained on the short puts. So losing $2,950 versus $4,030 in profit. That's a net $1,080 overall net profit in the past 2 days as we put on this particular series in GLD. Over time, we've been averaging about $1,000 a week. This is going on now for 6 months. This strategy has been really effective and consistent. And coming back here to our main chart, you can just see that over the last 6 months, we have been in various regimes on GLD, a very narrow consolidation range between March and August, and then a huge breakout range over the last 2 months up until now. The strategy has been working in both of these regimes. Ideally, we want to see kind of flat trading or slightly uptrending trading for the strategy to be at its maximum effectiveness. But really, the strategy can work in any type of market environment and basically just depends on your execution. For our part, we use gamma exposure to select our strikes, gives us an extra edge on top of the strategy as well as our overall portfolio. And if you guys want to learn more about how these strategies work, and if you're interested in tracking our trades in real time as well as we manage our options portfolio, you can become a member at geeksoffinance.com. We've got a fantastic education courses included in all memberships, absolutely free. I'll put a link in the description below so you guys can check that out when you get a chance.
Thanks, Anthony. Let's take a look at IWM. IWM has been a bit perplexing lately. We have bullish price action. It's been sticking to this whole moving average quite well, which is still in an uptrend, unlike SPX and QQQ. But we have negative GEX, but we do have higher GEX targets that we can look at up to the 260 area, especially, which is right up matched along with our upper Keltner channel. Once again, counterpoint, we have volume at the 235 area, and for days and days we've seen elevated volume at the 230 to 240 area. So we really want to see what happens on this next tag of 250, which is still a large GEX cluster, and it has been a large GEX cluster for the last couple of weeks. So this will be a gateway potentially to see either a move up to 260 if IWM can hold and close with a daily close above 250, or if we reject here again, we may be testing these lower areas that have been advertised as possible targets based on option volume and GEX remaining somewhat sticky at these 230 to 240 levels.
All right, next let's take a look at Apple. Apple was up big today, 3.94%, closing at 262.24. We were talking about this in our live stream this morning, actually. A lot of the Mag 7 names making pretty large moves relative to a lot of the other names we were tracking in the market. Apple was leading the pack, up nearly 4%. Also, what seems to be a big breakout here, going back to this resistance from last December. And for the past several weeks, we've been seeing the largest gamma exposure at the 260 strike. A lot of volume continuing to come in at this 260 strike and above. We're also seeing gamma exposure growing at 270 and as well as 280. And actually, I think a potential target for year end could be between 280 and 300. We're starting to see gamma exposure growing at these upper strikes. And, as the holidays approach, Apple a lot of times does make a decent move into that kind of Christmas, New Year's time period. So that's something just to watch out for. We're going to be monitoring the volume coming in up here at these higher strikes, as well as how the gamma exposure reacts to the changes in open interest. For now, however, the upper dealer cluster zone is around the 270 level. So it does look like, maybe there might be a little bit more consolidation, but it does look like Apple has the potential to move up here over the next couple of weeks towards that 270 strike. Price continues to hold this 50-day moving average, which is the red line on our chart. We're in positive gamma exposure territory, and with bullish momentum taking back hold here in the market near all-time highs, I think Apple's got a pretty good shot at continuing this breakout that we saw today. So this is going on the top of our watch list. We'll be looking at putting on a particular option strategy around this 270 to 280 range over the next few weeks.
Thanks, Anthony. Another name that we've been talking about that's been doing quite well is Meta, up over 2% today to 732. And we have this big positive GEX cluster at 750 staring at us overhead. And beyond that, this GEX at 800, which is right up there with the upper daily Keltner channel. And last week, we noted that Meta had been holding up quite well, even in the face of some days where the NASDAQ was quite weak. We see this whole moving average that's curled and is now pointing higher. And so really for Meta, if we can see price hold at 720 on any sort of a back test lower, that would be ideal for continuing this momentum upward towards 750.
And for a limited time, we're running a special promotion. You can get $300 off our yearly Portfolio Manager tier subscription. Use code FALL2025 at checkout. We do have a few spots remaining, but this promotion is going to be ending soon, so definitely take advantage of it while you can. Members get full access to our Gamma Exposure dashboard, our option flow analytics tools, as well as our algorithmic trading strategies. And you'll also get access to the premium channels in our community Discord. We've got a ton of great traders in there sharing their own trade setups and strategies. And you'll also get to track our trades in real time as we manage our options portfolio. So it's a great resource. I'll put links in the description below to all of that so you guys can check it out. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next video.